Welcome back to MadTown Hobby. My name is Keith, and tonight we're going to discuss the 3 problems that I think the Invasion set will have to solve for Genesis to survive. If that's an interesting topic for you, stick around. I'd love to hear your thoughts as we discuss this and work our way through it. All right. Problem number 1. No one is selling the game right now. Problem number 2. No one is playing the game right now. And problem number 3, no one is out there talking about the game right now. Those are the 3 things that I think Edge of Exile has to deal with launching this product, taking it over from the burning pile of rubble that Haunted Castle Gaming left them. So let's dig into these a little bit and have a little conversation, all right? Problem number 1. No one is selling the game. When you announce that you're closing down the shop and your sets become essentially worthless, people stop selling it. They dump it. They get rid of it. They give it away even. Now, how does Edge of Exile fix this? Well, first, make it easy for stores to get the new set. And so far, with the news that the 2 biggest wholesalers in Canada and in the United States, they were actually able to get them to carry the game, which, based on the history of how much product was ordered for the previous sets, it shocked me that they were able to get these pickups. But it's great news. That was a big major step that they had to solve. So anybody across the US or Canada can go to their LGS, can ask them to order. If you're in the United States, Southern Hobby, most LGSs in this country already have accounts with Southern Hobby, so they can add on a case of Invasion and send it right along. They announced this week updates. They actually have the store locator back up on the main website, and right now they're basically starting from scratch. I know a few people looked at that and saw, wow, that's starting from 0. I guess you can't start any lower, and it can only go up from here. They have a few stores listed for Canada, and I expected, they've been talking about United States stores asking about the product, and I expected to see some there. But I was looking at Southern Hobby's website, and apparently they don't actually have the listings available yet. So we put a pin in that because they said as soon as people start placing orders through Southern Hobby, they'll be able to add them to the store locator. And, if in a couple weeks there's 10, 20 more pins in that locator, I'll be pleasantly surprised, and that'll be great news. Another thing to get LGS's to order Invasion when it is available. Jason showed off. They're actually gonna give away sleeves, the old Haunted Castle Gaming branded Genesis sleeves that they had, and so it's essentially a buy a box promo. So you can get your LGS, order you a box, and then Edge of Exile will send that store sleeves to give to you, the players that pick up the boxes. So they gotta have stores interested in the game, and step 1 was being available. Great, they did it. Looking forward to seeing those stores join in. All right. Problem number 2: why would a store carry a game if no one's playing the game? The player base for Genesis, rough estimate was probably 500 at the most, probably less in the height of the game. From my impressions, I just pulling that number out of nowhere. I don't have any hard numbers, but my impressions of the game, of it, is that they had rough 600 something Kickstarter backers. Probably half of those were flippers, just in the height of the Kickstarter TCG craze. So let's say there were a few hundred people playing Genesis. Well, you need those players back. And Invasion, giving them a new set, giving them new starter decks. That's probably the best idea they had for getting those players back. Those new starter decks, easy to pick up, one for each new affiliation. Very excited about seeing those. And if you can get old players back and make it easy for adding new players because of those starter decks being good, that's a very positive step forward. And how else can they grow the player base now before Invasion comes out and leading up to that? Well, there are a couple places people can go play. They can find games to play. If you're seeing this video, if you were excited about Invasion coming and you want to get back into Genesis, there is a fan Discord. You can find I'll put the link to that in this video's description. I don't know if Edge of Exile links anywhere to that fan Discord, or if they run any sort of community right now. That's something they could work on. There is also the wonderful Tavern Brawlers Discord. They run games for Flesh and Blood, Grand Archive, Alpha Clash, a whole bunch of different games. And they have a group set up for Genesis. So the Tavern Brawlers Discord, I can put a link to them as well in the description. Great group. They had Lee on, who runs Tavern Brawlers, on their Monday night show like a month ago, or 5 weeks. I don't know. It's been a little bit. Great group. You can get in. You can get to some Genesis. Okay. Now, let's say you've heard of it and you want to play the game, but you don't have any cards. Now, a digital client for the game would be great for introing people. There was one supported by the community for a little while, but that got taken down because of just no support. Edge of Exile wasn't going to really support Coliseum of Fate in any way, and that just ran its course, and the community moved on from there. I don't know that Edge of Exile is going to be able to do anything like that, to have a digital client. In 2023, I feel like every game needs some kind of digital client, some way to learn the game before you buy the cards. At the very least, put out a print and play. Like, you don't have to do all 5 of the new starter decks, but do 2 of them, so that people can test out the game, play the game. Now, look, shameless plug here. I have a bunch of the old Jalara 2nd edition 2-player starter kits that I broke down so I could store them easier, but I don't need those decks. They aren't worth that much. So if you're watching this and you want to be able to try Genesis Battle of Champions, you can go to MadTownHobby.com. There is a listing for a 2-player starter kit for Genesis. And if you put in the code free starter when you check out, then it'll be free. I'm just pay for the shipping and send that out. It is advantageous for me to get more people playing this game for reasons I'll list later. But I want people playing the game. So, if you need cards, contact me. come to the Tavern Brawlers Discord, go find the fan Discord. Lots of people have cards, lots of people who want to play Genesis. They just need other people to play with, and they would be happy to send other people cards to be able to share the game. That's one thing that the only reason Genesis is still around is because there are people who play it. There are people who love it. They just got the rug pulled out of them by Haunted Castle Gaming. And that's the past now. Edge of Exile's taken over. Jason and Jeff are doing what they can behind the scenes. But that goes on to my next point here. The third problem that they're going to have to solve is that no one is out there talking about this game. Every good TCG, every good game out there, there is a hype cycle. There is a people trying to find other people to play with, people trying to spread the word because they're excited and they got to talk about it. Now, am I excited about Genesis? Well, if you look over my shoulder right here, I don't know if you've noticed so far. These are all boxes of Origins Kickstarter edition that I have that are I'm not getting rid of. I believe in the future is of this game, that it's very possible that enough people will come in over the next year that they will need these cards, that they're all still legal to play. There's no way for that Edge of Exile is going to reprint them out of commission anytime soon. So they're here. I'm going to use these cards to, again, I'll sell whatever people want to buy, but also run some giveaways, do some other content. And that's what does Edge of Exile need to do to solve the problem of there being no hype for this game? Well, that's a tough one. And this is a hard conversation to have. Jeff and Jason and Janice, they've put a lot of hours into picking up the pieces behind the scenes, the company, taking what was almost finished project of Invasion, redoing the templating, fixing cards, fixing rules. They are putting in the effort behind the scenes to make the foundation right. And that's something I respect, that Haunted Castle Gaming died because the foundation was rotten. The financials were out of order. Things at the company failed. The game was great. The game was growing. The game was heading places, but the company failed. So the first stop I want to see is that Edge of Exile is going to do things correctly as a company. The financials are going to stay solid. They're not going to overextend themselves. They're going to pay people involved. They're going to keep things on track. Those kind of skills are great, but honestly, and no offense to any of you, but you guys need somebody to do marketing. You guys need ambassadors. The Monday night streams are great. They are providing an opportunity, an open forum for questions and answers. They are, you guys have been giving away product to make that fun and interesting. But I feel like you're forcing it with these, and people who are good at marketing, good at content creation, good at the hype cycle. That's what this game needs. And I hope that really it's just a question of financials, that, you guys, obviously, Invasions needs to get delivered and Invasions needs to sell. And when the revenue is there, okay, they can probably breathe a sigh of relief that the game is selling, and they can bring more people in to help the process. Well, who else could be brought in? There was a question this past Monday that someone asked, and they said, will you guys be reaching back out to previous content creators of Genesis? And I'm going to drop a name, Scheming Skeleton, Jordan. Very passionate about Genesis. Felt completely burned by the way things failed from Haunted Castle Gaming. And in the fog of war, and I hope I'm not out of line discussing it like this, but in the fog of war of the company failing, and then the transition, there was a lot of emotion going around, a lot of things said that I can relate. I can understand that Jeff and Jason wanted to keep things in line for lawyer talk, keep things in line to actually get the sale, the purchase done. And in the fog of war and getting that done, toes got stepped on, and it's not their job to please everybody. It wasn't their job to make everybody happy in that moment. They were just trying to get the deal done, and that makes sense to me. But now, if Invasion is finished, Invasion is on the way, and you need ambassadors for this game. I'm here making this video because I'm learning. I'm learning how to do YouTube content. I'm expanding, just practicing talking about games. This is me looking at it from a business side. I will never make a Genesis deck tech. I will never cover what a winning deck consists of. I will not do any plays or gameplay videos. That's not my thing. I'm interested in the business side. I'm interested in watching these decisions that Edge of Exile is making, and I want to have my opinions, offer them here in this space, and if I offend them and their business decisions, that's okay. I think they need to be able to handle some criticism as a business, because you're in a public space. And maybe because of that, you're in a public space, the people running the game need to take a step back, and they need to have somebody who is the face of Genesis, who can handle being that ambassador. And I think it would go a long way if there was some way to get the people who used to make content for Genesis happy to come back. Now, honestly, the best way to draw people in, the old and the new, is success. Invasion needs to sell. I hope that the quality of these decks, the quality of the cards, the quality of the booster boxes, the packs, I hope that they come in good enough that that's not a major complaint. Previous sets with Genesis, they had terrible issues with the card quality. I was opening some of these Kickstarter Origins boxes yesterday, and I opened a God pack that was all foils, which you would think would be exciting, but the cards were not just curled, they were bent in half, like they had been damaged before being put into the pack. That was a regular occurrence with previous sets of Genesis, and that's something I sincerely hope is not an issue when Invasion drops. Now, all right, looking forward, again, Invasion coming December 2nd, the new boosters, new starter decks. I am, fingers crossed, hoping that it gets delivered on time. A delay, okay, would be fine as long as it's not too long. But yeah, this is make or break right here. And if you're still watching at this point and listening to my sultry voice, you are interested in Genesis, and I encourage you to make your own content. Become involved in the community again. Go to the fan Discord. Start talking about your favorite deck techs you used to have. Cardboard cohorts. There have been many of us discussing just throwing the Jalarian Tiger, Shockwave, the Flooded Studios guys, Brian and sorry, I forgot. But you guys are out there making content. You love this game. You are here involved, and I think it's okay to get excited about this game again. And it can't hurt. It can't hurt. All right. I'm rambling for 20 minutes here. So I think these problems can be solved. I think Invasion can be a brand new beginning for this game, and I hope it is. And let me know your thoughts. If you need help, you want to create content for Genesis, and you want boxes to open, you need cards to play with, find me on Discord. My username is MadTown Keith, and we'll get something going. I encourage you to get excited about the game again. And yeah, I'm a little bit excited. I've got a bunch of Jalara 2nd edition as well piled up in my garage, and I can't wait to be cracking all that open as well. All right, have a great night, and thanks for hanging out.